this video begins, I'd like to give a shout out to this user for making this comment because it is the reason that I found this game and made a video on it, so thank you very much. All the information you will need on this game, whether it's the link to the game itself, the Discord, or the group, will be in the description, so please go check it out. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Aloha Mystic Fairies, it's me, Mars Mystique, also previously known as Lauren Fenty, and for today's video I'm going to be reviewing H2O Mako Magic that is still in beta, therefore it's not finished. So let's start off with the character showcase before anything else. We also have all of these mermaids as options from Mako Mermaid in particular. However, all of these are passes that you will have to purchase yourself, and the same applies for the mermen such as Eric and Zach. The humans are obviously free because, I mean, they're humans, but the mermaids, you're gonna have to spend a couple of Robux. Let's focus on the half mermaids, Rikki, Bella, Emma, and Cleo. Okay, so let's start off with Cleo's powers. If you press E, you get to send a gust of air to your opponent. Let's try that one more time for you guys to really get that visual. And the cool thing is you can obviously control it, spin around, get more than just one person. I think that's a really cool power to have right off the bat that I don't really see in other H2O games because the abilities aren't targeted to just one person. If you have multiple people trying to jump you, all you gotta do is press E, send that gust of air their way. Next, we have the Siren Lure, which you activate by pressing H. And as you can see, it puts the nearby players in sort of a trance and then they temporarily knock out on the floor. Now the next power that we have is the tentacle. So by pressing Q, you can direct the tentacle to the player of your choice. Now we are going to be testing out Cleo's water orb powers, and it's rather simple, just hovering the F keybind over the water. And as you can see here, there's this water orb that I'm able to move around with my mouse, and I can direct it to anybody that I please. Let's try to direct it to my dummy. And it gives her a bit of a push, not as powerful as the other ones. Make sure that as you're throwing it, you're still holding the F keybind. Otherwise, the orb is going to drop prematurely and you're not going to be doing any damage to anybody. Exhibit A. See how it just dropped and I was trying to click it towards my dummy? You have to make sure that you're still holding the keybind as you're doing these actions. Now this is how the push looks like. If you press on C, boom. It's very similar to the gust keybind, except obviously this one's more directed towards one specific person. So if you're in a different situation where there's a group of people, but you're trying to target just one person and you're not trying to damage any of your friends or any bystanders, the push is a great keybind to use to target that one specific person. And then we have aerokinesis, which you can use by pressing T. And I think what's cool about this is that I'm able to carry around whoever's body with me and then throw them away wherever I please. This one's also great once again for targeting one specific individual. And obviously for each of these keybinds there is a cooldown. Some of the cooldowns are a little longer for powers such as those. Now we're going to move on to the next H2O mermaid. So here we have Cleo. Her very first ability is Blood Boil, which you can control with the H keybind. Performs a good amount of damage compared to other powers. Only thing of course is that during this you're not necessarily able to move the person, but it's still a really good ability to use when you're targeting one specific user. Then we have the Lightning Bolt with the U keybind. And this is probably one of my favorite powers because first of all, the animation looked phenomenal. Super cool. The cooldown is a bit lengthy, but totally worth it honestly because it is a pretty strong ability to have. And then with Z we have the Mass Boil. This is the type of thing that you're able to do when you're in a big server with a bunch of people and you're trying to target more than one person. Then we have evaporate. So let's just get into the water. So with evaporate, you hold on to E, and I'm obsessed with the fact that Rikki actually holds her hand out while doing that, because in a lot of the games, the avatar for Rikki doesn't do anything. She's just kind of staring off into the distance and you see the smoke near her tail, but there's no signs that she's performing that herself. So I think it's really cool that they included that. Next, we have fire with the R key bind. And then we have boil. I'm assuming this is specifically for when there's like puddles or stuff of that nature left around the map. And lastly, we have the fire circle with the G key bind. What is up with her hair? This reminds me a lot of the Vampire Diaries. You can get out without any harm, but other users are not able to get out of this barrier of fire. And that is super cool. Once again, a great ability to use when you're trying to get more than one person. And now we're going to move on to Emma. Alright, so we are back with Emma. Here I'm performing G, which is freeze, and X, which is shatter, on Cleo's water orb. This is how snow healing looks like. You press on the Q key bind, and you'll start to see snow, or like these light white particles rain down on the user of your choice. And presumably, based on the name, if my little dummy here had some damage, she would be healed by this. And I think this is a really cool and unique addition, because in the show, I always felt like Emma's powers were probably the least convenient. So it's nice to see that there was effort made on the developer's part in making sure that Emma's character was worth playing. This is me joining a public server to show you guys how advanced freeze looks like. I also realized I was able to shatter the advanced freeze, which I thought was super cool. And this is mass freeze. This one's one of my favorites from Emma because it's giving Elsa. It's giving Jesus dupe, and I'm going to show you guys why. Look at that. Giving Elsa, but then what's giving Jesus is the fact that I can walk over water. Like, hello, Jesus dupe. And now here we have Bella. Bella also has a pretty similar ability to Emma's, where she can make a path. I just don't think it's nearly as cool as Emma's, because you have to go bit by bit with the path, whereas Emma creates like a full-blown path. If it's like a really short pathway you're trying to make, then I guess Bella's powers are perfectly fine. We also have trap, which is with the Y key bind. You also have the option of hardening the jelly if you want to, as so with the V key bind. And this holds your enemy or opponent in place. And this is how her jelly powers look like. I had to use Cleo's water orb as a demonstration once again. So as you can see, you can interact with other people's stuff. It's not just the kind of thing where the powers are standalone. And I'm pretty sure I can stand on it if I wanted to. Oh my god, yes! Something I forgot to actually show you guys is that other than the fact that you could obviously trap somebody with the Y key bind and you can harden the jelly with the V, if you want to do some added damage other than to hold the person in place, by pressing the G key bind, you can make them explode and fling them away into the distance. I just don't like the fact that with her there comes more added steps, because this is something you can do with the other characters in different ways. There's a quicker way to do everything I just did with one key bind. So Bella isn't a character that I'd recommend if you're trying to like play a good, powerful game, but she's also not completely useless. I just feel like once again she's sort of like a downgraded, stripped down version of the other characters. She's really pretty and like I don't hate her, but like I just feel like her powers are so whack. Not in the game. Once again, I'm not blaming the creators at all. This is just how Bella is built. There's nothing that can be done about that, but hopefully maybe the creators do something similar to what they did with Emma, where they gave her like the healing powers. Maybe they can make Bella a little bit more useful. And a shared ability that all the mermaids have is that if you hold control and run into the water, you will dive into it like they do in the show. Now I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of this map. This map is humongous, so I'm only going to be showing you guys the main landmarks, I guess, from the show, such as Rikki's. don't know if you guys can see that because it is nighttime right now, but there's a whole shark swimming around. I really appreciate that they're adding sea animals into this. I wish there was a little bit more, but the fact that there's any at all is great because a lot of games don't really include that, so props to them, props to them. Ah! Oh, that's embarrassing. Over here, hidden amongst all these leaves, is an entrance to the Mako pool. In the first episode of H2O, this is where Cleo falls in, and she's like, oh my god guys, I'm hurt, whatever. And then boom, she ends up by the Mako pool. We also have this alleyway in the city area, and as you walk through, you're going to see this little shop, and you have the ability to buy a moon potion and pink goo, and you can buy a flashlight if you want to. I forgot to show you guys. Something that I'm heavily obsessed with is that they included the option to mess around with the hydrants just like the show. Get a little closer. That is amazing. And that about wraps up this video. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching, and I'm so excited to keep posting and introducing you guys to things that I love. If you are interested in joining me in game or simply just supporting me, you can feel free to follow my Roblox account. Current username that is here to stay is 𝑀arsMystique, but you can also search up Lauren Fenty and still find me. Comment down below if there's any game you'd like to see me make a video on. Now with faith, trust, and a little bit of misty fairy dust, I wish you guys all a magical day. Bye. Oh my goodness, the jumping animation just embarrassed me. Hold on.